and welcome to Tech 24. I'm Julia Seeger, and here are your headlines. What would Jesus text? It's a question we could ask ourselves as we look at how smartphones and applications are changing the way we worship. Even the Pope has his own Instagram account now. He racked up 1 million followers in just 12 hours. And the coloring book has just gone high-tech. In Test 24, we tried the Blink book, which takes traditional 2D coloring pages and turns them into an animated cartoon. But first, it only lasted 20 minutes and it took place 1.2 billion light years away, but NASA managed to catch it on camera. I'm talking about a star exploding, and it's not just any star. A red supergiant, 500 times bigger and 20,000 times brighter than the sun, exploded in the Kepler telescope's view. The phenomenon is called supernova, and the shock wave of the explosion provokes a brilliant flash, as you can see here on these pictures. Well, let's dig a little bit deeper into this still very mysterious phenomenon with our very own Dan and Jay Cattlecart. Welcome, Dan.
Thank you, Julia.
Dan, this phenomenon happens 2 or 3 times every century, and what we're looking at here is the remain of a star.
That's right. Supernova essentially is at the last stage of a star's life cycle. It takes place in 2 ways, either in a binary star system in which 2 stars orbit around a single point, or in a massive star which is multiple times heavier and bigger than the sun. So in a binary star system, a white dwarf, which is essentially a carbon star, it sucks matter from the bigger star, and it accumulates so much matter that it's not able to withstand it anymore, and because of the pressure it explodes, and after the explosion you see the dispersion of gases and elements throughout the space. And in a single star, when the star, which is already very massive, runs out of nuclear fuel, the matter starts accumulating onto its core, and the core becomes so dense that it's unable to withstand its own gravity, and because of that this core explodes, and again the remnants of the fuel, for example, in terms of gas, in terms of different elements, they get dispersed throughout the space. So that's how supernova explosion happens. And this supernova explosion aptly was captured by the Kepler telescope, which is named after the German astronomer Johannes Kepler. I mean, he was the last person to have recorded a supernova with a naked eye in 1604.
Right. And some scientists actually say that life wouldn't exist without supernova. Why is that?
Well, the building blocks of life are protein molecules, and the building blocks of protein molecules are amino acid molecules. Now, there's a theory that, Louis Pasteur, the famous French scientist, he discovered something called chemical handedness, which is a property for every molecule. Now, on Earth, every molecule is left-handed in nature. So the amino acids which are left-handed in nature, they are made up of carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen. Scientists found that a meteorite contained amino acids which also exhibited the same property. So now, just like everything, for example, all the elements which we see, most of the elements which we see on Earth, we can trace their origin to the core of the star. So when we talk about carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, iron, copper, everything comes from the star.
Right.
Similarly, it's not surprising that scientists are now, or some of the scientists are looking for answers in supernova to explain the characteristic called chirality of every molecule, the left-handedness. So what they did was, or the theory is that because of this intense radiation of a supernova, that lent this particular characteristic to molecules, which was then transported to Earth, and that's how we got life.
Thanks, Dan, for shedding light on this fascinating and spectacular galactic event. And moving on now to a whole other story. The Pope seems to be embracing social networks in a big way. First, he joined Twitter in 2012, and now he already has more than 9 million followers. Just a few days ago, he also opened an Instagram account, and it looks like the pontiff personally hit share for his first photo, as you can see in this video posted by Kevin Systrom, the co-founder and CEO of Instagram. The Pope is gazing down at a tablet before giving it a firm press. In just a few hours, he hit the 2 million mark, making it the fastest growing Instagram account ever, according to the company. And here's another example of how today religion is increasingly using technology. In Ghana, there's no need to turn off your cell phone when you walk into a church. A team of Christian tech entrepreneurs has designed a software specifically for use by churches and their congregation. The web platform and mobile app is called Ariba, which means churchgoer in Twi, a local Ghanaian language. Katarina Vitozzi sends us this report.
Preaching It's coming to me.
And praying. Two of the more common aspects of church-going in Ghana. But now you can add using a mobile app to that list. Ariba is a new cloud-based church management software. It enables the church to monitor attendance, send news and things like video sermons to the congregation's devices. In return, users can make prayer requests and instant online donations.
I really enjoy using it because you can go anywhere and then still be in service. Because when you are out there, maybe at workplaces or whatever, you can get any information, you can get what's going on live on the app.
Church leaders admit traditional preaching is no longer enough for modern churches. This is the platform for digital evangelism.
Jesus Christ, he charged us to reach out to the whole world with the gospel. And we are not traveling with donkeys and horses again. So with the help of technology, social media, applications, you can get people to know the message of Jesus Christ.
More than half of Ghanaians say they go to church. Ariba's founders are amongst them. They believe their faith has been a unique selling point when promoting the software.
Being Christians and understanding these values and having very common shared values places us at a much more better point than just any software company building.
Less than a year old, Ariba is already being used in 200 churches in Ghana. Its creators want to help ministries spread the word, one app download at a time.
Is before all things.
And Ariba there, which was just named Africa's best startup at the inaugural Seed Star Africa event in Casablanca, Morocco. Now, Dan, where else do we actually see religion meeting technology in this way?
Well, speaking of applications, there's an interesting app called GeoConfess, which is made by the French Catholic TV channel KTO. So the idea is that it's a platform between the faithful and the priest. So through geolocalization, the faithful can locate a priest depending on where he is and set up a meeting where they want to meet at what place, and accordingly he can go there and he or she can go there and confess. So the reason why this application is being launched, it will be launched soon, is that in our day-to-day lives, it's very hard to find time, and you cannot do it on. Normally, confession should happen on an impulse. Like right now, you feel that I want to confess, and you need to confess. So if you can do it on the go, you can locate a priest quickly on the go, and you have multiple options. And also, because of multiple options, there's a greater chance of anonymity, which is very important when it comes to confession. So this is what the app basically does. It's basically the Uber of confession.
I wonder how the priests are going to adapt to this technology. And because we are talking about religion, and religion is about compassion and reaching out, let's talk about a social network to help the homeless people.
That's right. It's called Entourage. In France alone, there are a number of homeless people, and apparently over the last decade, the number has gone up by 50%. So what it does is that it essentially provides a platform for better coordination and information sharing between different organizations who are involved in helping the homeless. And going a step further, it also enables individuals to, for example, if they find a homeless person who is in need of certain things, maybe he's in need of medical help or food or shelter, through this app, the individual can get in touch with the relevant organization, because there are many organizations involved, or they are specialized in certain aspects, but it's very difficult to reach out to every organization.
And put them in touch, too.
Exactly. So through this app, this is essentially a bridge between the organization and the homeless person. And you can do it on an individual level, or it can be done on an organizational level as well through this app.
Thank you, Dan. It's time for Test 24. And coloring books have become much more technologically advanced than I actually remember, Dan. They now involve an iPad.
That's right. This particular book is called Blink Book. So the idea behind this application and the book is that you take a picture of a drawing, for example, here. I guess you have colored the fox.
I did, and notice how I didn't go over the edges.
That's true, but the color is quite interesting, the color combination. Anyway, so you colored the fox. So here it's a still image. Now, through the app of the Blink Book, you first take a picture, and then there are different options in which you can see the fox. So here I chose an option.
So you chose a backdrop.
Yeah, you can choose different backdrops.
So it's not working really well right now because there's sailing boats.
I don't know what I choose, but there are different options for animation. So this is one of them. The other is I saw some flying fish, and I chose this, and
Right. It's a little bit abstract, but
it's a bit abstract. But the idea is that your drawing turns into an animated character. It brings your drawing to life. And I think it's quite amusing for children to have something still come to life. And at the same time, it's a great way of introducing them to technology, to applications, and maybe their curiosity gets aroused, not by the drawing, but more by
the technology.
by the technology which is present on their mobile devices.
And Disney as well started a similar app.
That's right. It takes a step further ahead above the Blink book. So the idea is that you get a special book, special coloring book, and the moment you start coloring it and you put your mobile device in front of it, the camera through the app captures this particular drawing, and it gives a 3D rendition as you are drawing your favorite character, for example.
Right.
It gives a 3D rendition of that, which is quite fun.
It's very
more
cool.
Yeah, exactly. And a 3D augmented app. I think it's quite amusing, and it's entertaining as well.
Well, I look forward to try it with my daughter tonight. Thank you, Dan. Well, that's all we have time for here at Tech24, but you can watch it again on our website, france24.com. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.